I wrapped her in the blanket. I put her in the wooden box, which is a casket, out of respect for her faith, because in my faith we burn women. I buried her in the living room, and I threw the sand on her. I danced over her grave to take revenge and to show her who's the boss. And that's how the criminal described his crime and how he did it. Who's this lady? Who's this criminal? What is the story all about? Let's listen to it. Hello everybody. This story happened in India in 1991, and it gained so much fuss and publicity. It was all over the news because the people involved in this crime story, the victims, are a very famous big family who works in the Indian government and who has very important position. So the story started when a new police officer who used to work in Bombay got assigned a new job in a new city called Bangalore, which is close to Bombay. His name was Kunda Dharma. This police officer was sitting in his office. It was his second day in the station when suddenly a woman just broke into the station without hello. She was screaming so loud, really angry, but almost out of sadness. Hey, you guys, you are useless. You do nothing. You get paid for doing nothing. People are murdered here and there, and none of you did his job. When is this gonna stop? Somebody has to do his job. And the police officer tried to calm her down. He told her, ma'am, this is my second day here. What are you talking about? Then she stopped. She paused a little bit, and she saw how he was giving her the time of his day, and his body language was like he cares. So she stopped a little bit and she said, my mom got murdered 3 years ago and none of you did anything. I have been coming back and forth and the criminal is playing around and nobody cares. And he told her, wait, what happened? So the girl sat down and explained to the police officer from the very beginning what happened, and he was all ears. He took a piece of paper to write notes and brought her a cup of coffee or a tea, I think. And he told her, who are you? She said, my name is Sabah Khalil. And she was in her 20s, a really beautiful young girl who works as a model in Italy. She said, my name is Sabah Khalil. I'm the daughter of the victim. Her name is Shakira Khalil. That's not her real name, but that's her fame name. She chose it so she can be away from the paparazzi or from the newspapers. She just enjoys her independence away from my dad. Her dad was the ambassador of India in Tehran, I think, or somewhere. And she said, that's how the story started. My mom come from a very big wealthy family. My grandpa, which is her mom's father, was a minister of India. He has so much land, so much wealth, and when he passed away, my mom inherited it, all of it. Everybody loved my mom. She's so pretty. She met my dad, and the relationship was sincere and very beautiful, and they fell in love because my dad was from the same family class like my mom, so he wasn't after her money. He has his own money too, and he was coming from a wealthy family. It was the wedding of the century. It was on TVs, the newspaper talked about it. He threw the massive wedding for my mom. Even famous people from the political field attended it. It was on TV back in the days, or in the newspapers. I'm not sure if back in the days there was TV. This was in the 90s, so probably their wedding in early 90s, so probably their weddings was early 70s or maybe late 60s. And we lived a dream life. We didn't need anything. We and my sisters, I have 4 sisters. My mom got pregnant every year almost, but she had a girl every year. So she and my dad ended up to have 4 daughters. We inherited my mom beauty and her side of the family beauty. So we lived a dream life. We never needed anything. We always attended massive parties, high-end gatherings, because my dad was a politician. But the only thing that bugged my mom was that my dad was away for a long time, sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months. It depends on where he's getting deployed or where his political meetings and duties are. So my mom was the mom and the dad in the house. She took care of all of us. She did everything we need. She did the grocery shopping. She did everything. And of course, she had to dress up accordingly to my dad's social status. And even when my dad comes back from his missions, my mom had to throw big dinners and invite all his political parties, all his friends who are in the same social status, like they are high-end people and wealthy and with money. And even then, we couldn't see my dad the normal way. We had to designate a couple days for these events and dinners and parties. And that's how our life was. And we grew up seeing my mom and dad love and my dad care. And this is it. It was like a dream life. And one day my dad told my mom that he's going to go to Tehran, which is the capital of Iran, for some collaboration between the 2 countries that he has to facilitate, or some projects, and it's going to take a month or so. My mom then told my dad, well, I'll need to do a couple of projects here and maybe a couple businesses, and she want to renovate the house while he was gone. So she needed somebody to help her do these things. Like she needs a man who finalizes things in the government offices or in the city halls and stuff like that. Do the gardening. So the father, she said, my father found a guy, and the guy is a very good guy. He was the gardener, he was the driver, he was the businessman. He helped my mom and dad in everything. Even when my dad came back from that 1-month trip, my mom told him he was amazing. So because he trusts him, he brought that guy, and his name was Mirza. Mirza was an average poor guy from a lower class family, just a worker, just an Indian average guy who works here and there as a I don't want to say a servant, but who does help people in their homes and in their work. So the father liked him so much, to the point that he told him, hey, come over, I want to talk to you a little bit. He said, I want to hire you when I'm gone. Anytime my wife calls you, anything they need, you just do it for them. And actually, we want you to live with us. So Mirza was so happy with this offer, because he knows they are both wealthy people, and he loved the family and their life status and their lifestyle, and to live in this mansion, that was incredible for him. The dad got called to go for a mission in Italy. So this time he was there for a month and a week, or a month and or 2 weeks. At that time, Sabah says, we noticed how Mirza was so interested in my mom. He would have private conversations with her and talk about my mom and dad and ask her feelings about her. My dad is far away. This is what we saw. But we don't know what happened between closed doors, like what he was telling her when we were in school or when we were outside. So with time, Mirza and Shakira, the mom, they developed their relationship, like she developed feelings, or he played with her emotions, faking that he loves her, of course for the money's sake. But the dumb mom never knew that she thought he sincerely loved her, and she saw the difference. He's always there, he cared about her feelings, whatever she needs he's there. So she fell in his trap. When her husband came back from Italy trip, immediately the husband noticed. His name is Akbar Khalil, by the way. You can Google his name. Akbar Khalil was just came back from his trip. Usually she welcomed him to the home with a nice meal and with like feelings that she missed him so much, and he didn't see that. Immediately she showed him another face. She was like, didn't welcome him the right way. She was having an angry face, like she couldn't tolerate to see him at all. And she told him frankly with time that, hey, I don't think we are good together. I don't want to stay with you anymore. You are not even at home. I don't have a life with you. I'm not happy. I want divorce. And she kept repeating, I want divorce, I want divorce. And he couldn't understand why. But because she insisted on it, and she's a strong woman from a big family, and he's a man of dignity, he said, if you don't want to stay with me, then you can go. And the kids could not believe their ears when they heard the news that their dad officially divorced their mom. And the girls tried to talk to mom out of it. Mom, what are you doing? If you divorce our dad, we will leave. We will never talk to you again. And the mom, she said, well, if you don't want to talk to me ever again, then don't talk to me ever again. This is my life, and I made my decision, and I'm not happy with your dad. And she packed her stuff to leave. And when her family heard of that, they absolutely didn't approve it. It's crazy. She is not lacking anything, and people swear by her husband's name. He's that good. He's known for being a gentleman and a good politician, and he has a massive reputation. They don't miss anything. Why would she divorce him? And to go with this guy, like everybody was shocked. He has no beauty. I'm gonna post his picture, by the way. I'll post everybody's picture. It's a lot of work, and I didn't want to do this, but this story deserves it. Like, I'm also gonna post a clip of the daughter talking, so stay tuned and watch it until the end. The guy has no money, which is Mirza, has no money, no looks, no social status, absolutely nothing, to the point that even thought that he did some witchcrafting on her, like a black magic, that she fell for him. For what? And nobody knows why. But she did what she did. She has all this money, and she is an independent woman, and she made up her decision, and she want to leave. The dad has to sit down with his daughters and explain to them that it's not his fault. He doesn't know where this came from, and it's fully her decision, and she confirmed it to them. So the girls told their mom, we are gonna leave, and their dad still has his mission in Italy, and he didn't finish it, so they all moved there with him. And that's how the modeling career for Sabah started. She stayed with her dad, and she pursued the modeling career. And the mom, of course, left the house. They didn't sell it, and she moved to an area and bought a house and stayed there with Mirza, thinking that she will be ever happily living with him after she divorced her husband. Actually, her wedding ceremony was so stupid and so small. Her family came to her and they told her, this is the last time you hear from us and see from us. If you went through with this party and this wedding, we are done with you. So everybody abandoned her. The husband, the kids, the family. She's alone with this wolf that she thinks he loves her, and he's the best man she ever met in her life. Long story short, years passed. She's still with him. They never had kids. And Sabah missed her mom. She said, well, even if she made a mistake, she's still my mom, and this punishment is enough for her. The mom tried to contact them, of course. Back in the days, there were no cell phones, but probably there were land phones. They are from a wealthy family, so probably at that time they got it, early 90s. I'm not sure if the internet came, but the story says they were communicating through mail and through land phones. So she went back and talked to her mom here and there and sent messages in the mail and talked to her on the phone, and she decided to go and visit her mom. She went and visited her mom, and the relationship started to go slowly back to normal. And her mom told her, "What are you doing in Italy? Why don't you come back, have a degree and have a stable life, and because you're eventually going to have kids and you cannot stay in there. This is not real life. And then I'll go with you to London and we can have a house there and you can go to schools in London." And that was the agreement. But the daughter noticed that the mom told her, "I'll follow you. You can go before me and I'll follow you after I solve a couple of problems." The daughter said, "What problems do you have, Mom?" But the mom, because the daughter was away for years, she didn't feel comfortable to tell her these intimate things just from her first visit after all this absence, years of absence. So she told her, "I'll tell you one day. Just go, and I will follow you." While she was leaving the house, her mom cousin was in his car, stopping in front of the house. So Sabah was about to leave, but the mom said goodbye to her and she told her, "I have to talk to my cousin." And she noticed the mom with panic. She's almost gonna cry. Tried to talk to the cousin, but she didn't know what she was saying. And she noticed that it was a very disturbing scene, but she had to go, and she left the country and went back to Italy to her dad. She told the dad about what happened, and he told her, "We don't know. It's her personal life, and she might have an issue, and none of our business." Well, and that was the last time Sabah says she saw her mom. She stayed in Italy, and she noticed her mom never called her back, never texted, never, responded to her mail messages. And she was so concerned, so she kept calling the house, the landline. And one day, her stepdad, which is Mirza, picked up the phone finally, and she asked, "Where is my mom?" He told her, "Oh, she's with her friends. When she comes back, I'll let her know you called." And he did that 3-4 times until the fifth time she told him, "Where is my mom? This is not normal. What are you saying? She never called me back, and it has been weeks." He told her, "Well, oh my God, I don't know why we are having this bad luck, but she just left the house for a birthday party. I assure you, once she come back, I will make the call." And of course, she never called, he never called. And at this point, when weeks passed and she never heard from her mom, when she was talking to her almost every day, she told her dad, "I have to book a ticket. I'm gonna go back to India and see what's going on with my mom." And what this monster did to her. Because they never trusted him after what he did. He betrayed the whole family, betrayed their trust, and played a game on their mom. They know he had nothing, and probably he played in her mind to let her divorce their dad. So they never trusted him and they never liked him. She knocked on the door, and he opened the door. And she screamed, "Where is my mom? Where is my mom? Mom, mom!" She thinks that she's in the house, and he's just picking up the phone and not letting their mom pick up the phone. And of course, she didn't answer. After that, he told her, calm down, and he was like really chill, like nothing's going on. "Calm down, what are you doing? Your mom is fine. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Your mom is in America at Johns Hopkins Hospital, or it was Roosevelt Hospital, and she's trying to have a baby, and I didn't want to bug you, and she want to keep her privacy, so that's what she told me, and specifically you, so you don't bug her." She told me to tell you that she's there, don't worry about it, and she will contact you soon. Sabah said, I kind of believed him. I actually believed him because my mom was really trying to have a kid. She wanted to have a boy. So I kind of believed him. And he told her, go back to Italy and do whatever, and your mom will call you. And I'm going to call her after you leave, and I'll ask her to call you so she calm you down. Mirza thought she went back to Italy. And he told her, within 4 or 5 days, I'll have her call you. Let her now rest, and she's doing some tests, and she will call you. Sabah didn't believe him. So she stayed in a hotel. She didn't leave the country as she told him. And she waited for her mom to call her. Or call her dad, or whatever he said. And she told her dad that if my mom called, give her my hotel number. I'm not going to leave the country. I think something is wrong, and I don't know what it is, but my mom is not there. Days passed, 5, 6, 7 days passed, and of course he never called. The mom never called. This time, Sabah didn't knock the door on him, really quiet and calm, not like the first time, and she told him, where is my mom? She never called me. He told her, come in, let's get some coffee, and I'll call her now, and you can hear what she's saying. Sabah, immediately when he went to the kitchen, she didn't wait a second. Immediately she ran to her mom's room, trying to look for anything. She saw the room is clean. There is no makeup on the tables. She opened the drawers to see anything. She saw her no clothes there, but she saw her mom's passport. And some clothes like she's not even using them. They were neat and folded and there, like she's living there, but she's not there. But she found up her mom's passport. So if she's in America, why the passport is there? She took it with her and went back to the living room. And she told him, oh, I don't feel well. I'm going to go home. And let her call me later on. She felt something is weird and she didn't trust him. And in reality, later on in the story, you will know that he was trying to put a sleeping meds in her tea just to get rid of her, and God knows what could have happened. She said, I don't feel well, my stomach hurts, I'm going to go home and I'll come back to you later on in the night. And of course, she never came back. Now she knew something is wrong with her mom, since her mom's passport is there. Now, the police officer, Konda Dharma, told her, do you have the passport? Can I see it? She said, yes, I'm going to bring it to you tomorrow. And he promised her that he will do something. He told her, give me the home address and where he lives, and probably we will call him tomorrow to investigate what happened. And she left. She told him, can I be with you? He told her, no, I'm going to give you updates, but you absolutely cannot see him, cannot go and talk to him ever again. This is it. Of course, you are going to be surprised, dear followers, and ask, how come? And this is 1993 now. This whole drama happened in 1991. How come the government didn't do anything? Why the police didn't do anything? Murder at that level, like somebody famous disappeared, who's a politician, a wife. Why nobody did anything? The case even got closed. There is no case. There is nothing. No information, no file, nothing. Because the woman was a Muslim. You could probably know from the names. Akbar Khalil and Shakira Khalil and Sabah. These are all Arabic names. But they are not Arabs, they are Indians. But because of the faith, the Quran has names. So the names match all over the world. If you follow that faith, you tend to name your kids from names from the book, the holy book, their holy book. Anyway, so the family was a Muslim, and Mirza was a Hindu from the Hindu religion, and they were the majority. Muslims are a minority, despite the fact that they are over 200 million person in India. You can tell from the news, and if you Googled it, probably you will know there is almost a massacre going on here and there because the Hindu don't like Muslims. They want to kick them out. They don't like the woman covering their head. They are like France and what France is doing regarding the headscarf. They don't allow them to go to school. They don't want them to be in the country, and it's just ridiculous fight between these two groups that has no base actually. Because of that, the case got dismissed. Whoever is in power and supporting the Hindu, and probably the police officers were Hindu, they didn't care about the case. They didn't consider her to be even a human being who has the rights like any other Hindu, because she's Indian citizen. So this police officer was really nice, and he said, I'm going to take care of this case. He opened a file, assigned a couple police officers, and told them tomorrow, immediately, we have to go to Mirza's house and see what's going on. They went to Mirza's house. They have a warrant for arrest. They told him, you have to come to the police station for investigation. He said, yeah, sure. I said what I have before, and I can say it now. I don't know anything about this woman. She just ran away. I don't know where she is. They told me, yeah, sure, come over with us. The police, the police, the sheriff, the head of the police officers, which is Kunda, want to see you. Kunda, when first met Mirza, he noticed completely the guy has no body language. His eyes didn't twitch. He didn't seem to have any guilt. He acted like he never seen Shakira, and he never did anything. Completely solid and committed to his same answers. I don't know what happened to her. I have no other testimony to provide, nothing at all. So they told him, okay, you can go if you have nothing to say. And but who's living with you in the house? He said, they have a driver and a housemaid. That's it. Nobody is living in the house with me. And the police officer told the other assigned police officers, they told not to do anything. Nothing further should be done. They told him, you don't want us to bring the housemaid and the driver? He said, no. Let him be comfortable. We are going to do surveillance on the house. We are going to have a 24/7 officers who are going to follow him and follow everybody is working in the house and watch what they are doing when they come in and out. Where do they go? And they noticed after 1 week that the driver, not the driver, probably he was a driver. There was a housemaid and a driver, yeah. The driver who was taking Mirza back and forth everywhere, because not everybody own a car. And he just inherited all the money from Shakir after her death, because she wrote everything under her name. She went to a power of attorney and gave him full access to all her assets to do anything he wants with them. So he was living the life fully. So they noticed that the driver was going regularly to this bar and getting hammered every night, every single night. So Kunda, the police officer, the head of the police officers, he said, listen guys, I have a plan. Why don't we go to the bar and pretend that we are casual people and offer him a drinks for free? We will tell the bartender that whatever he want to drink, it's on us. And that's exactly what happened. Until he is not there fully or he's drunk, then he will talk. We go and question him. And that's exactly what happened. So they start giving him a glass after a glass, a shot after a shot, and he was happy that somebody else is paying for it. And he was talking with them, chit-chatting, until the moment when he started, they knew he is there, and it's time to question him. So they told him, well, have you heard this story about this lady who disappeared? Her name is Sabah Khalil, and she's the wife of this famous politician, Akbar Khalil. And he said, yeah, I remember that woman. She disappeared 3 years ago. Actually, I know where she is, and that's why I'm drinking every night. I feel so guilty. And they told him, what do you know about this woman? He said, well, my boss, Mirza, asked me one day to buy this wooden box that fits a human being, and we were wondering what's going to happen. So I gave him this wooden box. I went to a carpenter, and he made this wooden box that looks like a casket, and they delivered it to the house, and I gave it to him, and he told me to put it in the bedroom. And when I walked in the bedroom, Mirsha was sleeping. She was breathing, she was sleeping like nothing was going on. But next day she disappeared, and we never seen her again. So we think that he buried her. And you know what? I feel so guilty because I should have told somebody. And he started crying really loud and started to attract attention in the bar. So the bartender started asking what's going on, and the people almost start to gather. So the police officers says, thank you. Then they were gonna leave. They said, nothing is going on, he's just emotional, and they left. And of course, next day, probably the driver never remembered anything happened. Then the police officers started questioning the housemaid. When she went for grocery shopping, they got a hold of her and they told her, you have to come to the station. We want to talk to you. And of course, everything was recorded. When they questioned the housemaid, she said, well, I didn't see anything. I'm innocent. I'm not a part of this thing, but I'll tell you what's going on, because she was Hindu. And actually, they found out that she married Mirsha. Now, she and Mirsha are married. She said, I don't know what my husband did, and it's not my fault, but I noticed when the casket disappeared, and probably he buried her in the backyard or in the living room, which is an open area, like there is chairs and a table, and it's like an extra living room outside because it's a big house and a nice house. Probably it's a second living room or a sunroom. Anyway, she said, we noticed that he had basil trees, and in the Hindu religion, when they burn the body, they put basil trees, and they water them with milk out of respect. It's like a tradition they do. And so she saw him doing that. He planted a basil trees in the house and start watering them with milk, like if a dear one just passed away. And that's the tradition. If a dear one passed away, that's how you do it in the Hindu religion. I have never heard of this. I just read it in this report. So it was confirmed to them that he buried her in the house, and there is 2 eyewitnesses, and nobody heard or seen anything from this woman. They even questioned the neighbors about the timing of when she never been seen again, and everybody confirmed that at around that week. And now they have the evidence, they have the eyewitnesses. Immediately the police officers issued a warrant for arrest this time, and he will never leave them. They issued an order to look in the house and see what's going on. And they went immediately and attacked him in the house, brought him to the police station, and he was completely calm, like the first time, denying everything. Your guys wasting your time, I didn't do anything. And as soon as he sat down, they put her passport in front of his face. The police officer, Kunda. And he kind of backed off. He didn't say anything, but his face changed. They told him, well, if you didn't do anything, how come her passport is here? He said, well, I don't know. Maybe she forgot it, and she issued another one from the embassy. She knows people. It's not my problem if she has 2 passports. And they told him, well, we have 2 eyewitnesses. We have 2 recorded testimonies from your wife and from the driver, and the team is already in your house looking up for the body. and we have to wait until and see what they find, and they have a search warrant, and we will find what's going on in your life. He was so stressed out, he even started talking before they find the body. He said, well, if they found the body, it's not my fault. I don't know who did it. And the police officer told him, what do you mean you don't know who did it? We have 2 eyewitnesses, nobody in the house. You got all the money. You got the motive. We got the eyewitnesses. You lied about her. He said she's, and a third eyewitness when you said she is in Italy and she's in America and whatever these stories. And by then, the police officers came back to the station and told him, we have found the body. And they found a skeleton buried in a wooden box, exactly as the housemaid, which is his second wife, says. It's in the living room. And it was just a skeleton with some hair on the skull. They had to send her for an autopsy, and there is nothing to see, of course, but they confirmed it's a female and the age, and that's it. So there is a body, there is eyewitnesses, and he got sentenced to life in a prison, and that's the maximum punishment in India, without parole. And in the testimony that Mirza said, they told him, how did you kill her? Can you take us to the house and show us how you did it? He said, one day, I forgot to tell you guys regarding the cousin. One of the attempts that Sabah did, sorry for that, I don't edit my videos, it's too much work, and I'm just, even my throat hurts after a while. So excuse me for that. One of the attempts that Sabah did, and because it's a very important detail, one of the attempts that Sabah did to find out where her mom is, since the last time she saw her mom with her cousin, the mom cousin, not Sabah cousin, and she was stressed and almost crying and talking to him, she found the cousin and told him what happened. He told her, well, your mom has told me she has a problem and she needs my help to solve them, and she needs to see me without Mirza. And that was another evidence that he did something to her mom. And the cousin says, she never told me what the problem is, but she was really afraid. She was crying, and she said she needs massive help and that she needs to see me immediately tomorrow or anytime soon, but not without Mirza being in the house. She set an appointment to see him next day at 4 p.m. when Mirza is working or doing something that he does every day before he comes back at 7 p.m. at home. And the cousin says, when I knocked the door, Shakira didn't come out to open the door. Mirza opened the door, and he was angry and started yelling at me immediately. What are you doing here? What do you want? Shakira is not here, and I don't want to see you ever again. Sorry, that's my cat. So when he knocked at the door, he said Shakira didn't open the door. He was surprised because she told him he's not at home and I want to see you with him not in the house. So he was confused and didn't know what to say. And before he say anything, Mirza yelled at him, what are you doing here? I don't want to see you ever again. Shakira's not here, because he knew he's coming to see his wife, Shakira. He kicked him out and he told him, I don't want to see you ever here again. I didn't want you to talk to my wife ever again. And if you came back here, I'm going to cut your legs. And since then, he said, the cousin, that he never went back and he never heard from Shakira. He kept calling the house and she never answered. And that's it. She got declared as a missing person who ran away. That just as a missing person, not as a murder. And she was missing since then, and I never seen her again. So when Mirza started talking about what happened that day, he said the same day her cousin came. In the morning, he prepared coffee for her, not coffee, tea, a cup of tea, and he put sleeping meds in it, massive amount of sleeping meds. And And she drank the tea in the morning, and she noticed he's being exceptionally nice when usually they are not that okay with each other, but she didn't suspect anything. That's what he's saying. The dumbass, she didn't suspect anything. She just drank the whole the whole tea that I made, and she fell asleep. Until at night, she was asleep the whole day until at night. Even when the cousin came in, she didn't even wake up when he rang the bell. Until at night when the wooden box came that the driver brought, and he carried it to the room, and that's when the driver saw her fully asleep. She was breathing, but she was fully asleep. She didn't even wake up when they slammed the wooden box on the floor. And that's when Mirza said, I wrapped her in the blanket after the driver left. I wrapped her in the blanket. I closed the wooden box on her out of respect, because in her faith, Muslims don't burn the body like Hindus do, and they don't do embalmment. They just wrap the body with a cloth, and they bury them as they are in the ground. So that's what he did. He said, out of respect for her faith, I didn't burn her. I put her in the wooden box, and I buried her in the living room, and I danced over her grave out of revenge for what she did for me, so she knows who's the boss. That's literally what he said. So he confessed of what he said, and it was all recorded. And that's why he got sentenced to life, because everything points to him, and there is no doubt that he is the one. And he's not crazy, he doesn't have mental illness, and he didn't get tortured. There was nothing of any type of a pressure on him to talk. So he spent probably 11 years in a prison, and by the 11th year, and of course the family got all the money back, and they found out that he sold her assets for $700,000, and that's massive amount of money compared to how the standard of living in India is, and how the currency, how small the currency is. And they were able to get some of the assets back, and the court gave the family back all the money. And he ended up to be in a prison for almost eternity until the day he died. But by the 11th year, something happened. There was a twist of events. One of the lawyers called Aluk, he's famous because of this case. He was big in the country, so he thought that's an interesting case, and he's someone from the same faith, and he want to save him. He thought, and Mirza convinced him that he is innocent, and the way he approached the case, and it even got a lot of positive response from the community. They believed him. Oh, he's from the working class. He's a very poor man. He was a victim of this wealthy family. He didn't do anything. She was just a wealthy woman who fell in love with him because he's better than her husband, and she want to have a kid with him. And she really was pregnant, but they lost the baby. So she fell in depression and started drinking and getting involved in drugs until one day she overdosed and died. And when nobody would believe him, he, out of fear, he buried her in the house out of respect in a casket in the wooden box. And that was his story. And people believed him and sympathized with him. He's a working family, and they will put him in a prison for no reason. And there was a litigation and a second real trial. He was in court. The judge was a very smart person, and he ordered the court to bring back the evidence, which is the casket, and investigate and see from the body to if there is any evidence that she was really buried alive, which is a very ugly death. Because if she was being buried alive, they might see an evidence inside. She might have craved her name on the casket or anything. And they really saw marks of nail scratch, and nails don't dissolve like bones. So even they saw a leftover of wood in her nails, which means that she woke up. The poor lady, what an ugly death, that she woke up and she was screaming and she was trying to get out. But the monster buried her alive. He didn't even do anything before and he knew she was asleep. She wasn't dead yet. Or probably she got suffocated at the end because there is no oxygen underneath the floor. But there was signs that she was alive and it tried to get out. The nail scratches on the wooden box from the inside. And that was an evidence that he did it and she was alive, as his first testimony said, and the case was closed forever and the guy was sent to prison for forever. So obviously from all the details, the mom wanted to divorce Mirza, but she was so afraid of him. She knew he's gonna do something and she was really scared, and she wanna go and join her daughter in London and reconnect with her daughters and apologize to her family and go and live life, because she knew she made a mistake. And actually Mirza said in his testimony that she was dumb and she thought he loved her. Why would he love a married woman with kids? And he was after the money. And even when his second testimony, he tried to convince everybody that yeah, she was a married woman, they are lying, I wasn't in love with her, and I didn't want anything. She was in love with me and she wanted to have a boy with me. Why would they be with a married woman? Anyway, the moral of the story is that some people make decisions based on emotions, not thinking about the consequences, and this is one tragedy that was a result of one single decision based on emotions. And that's the end of our story, and then now the family can be at peace. Sabah finished her education in London, and what a tragedy for this family. And now you can watch the video that I'm gonna leave for you, and until our next story, peace and love your way. Take care.
Happy today that I don't care whether it took another 5 years, but this is what we were aiming for, this result, and I must just be thankful for this, and I think I've been very blessed that we got the victory on our side.